So the line of questioning led my client to ask, why would I pay taxes if I don't have to? Hey everyone, I am Andrew. I am the owner of Lever Wealth Management, which is the financial advisor for people who scare financial advisors. I am also a CFA charter holder and CFP professional who spent the last several years helping ultra high net worth and high net worth investors with their complex financial lives. And what I do is I take the learnings from those thousands of iterations and I give them to you so that you can apply them to your own life. And today what I want to talk about is a client who I'd met with years ago. We'll call him Jim. And Jim came in and was a new client, had about $1 million in a non-qualified investment account, $1 million in an IRA, and a couple $100,000 in a Roth IRA. And he was over 70 years old. I think his story is good as an illustrative truth for Roth conversions and how we can view those. And I'll get into it here at the end. But Jim came in and said, hey, I've heard about these Roth conversions. I think we should maybe look at them. And we do, right? And so we run some analysis software and do things like, do we do Roth conversions up through just the 12% tax bracket or the 22 or the 24? How does that affect his IRMA? How does that affect the taxability of Social Security? All of those things that hopefully through my videos or others, you have a little bit of a backing with. Well, what the analysis shows is it makes sense based on current tax law and all these assumptions to go ahead and do Roth conversions up through 22% tax bracket. Probably saves him a couple $100,000 in lifetime taxes. If he lives past 87, it makes sense. And he has longevity in his family. So it all kind of makes sense is the point I'm making here, the picture I'm trying to paint. However, this is why conversations are so important. We're reviewing this with him. And he goes, my kids do fine for themselves. They don't need this money. And I really don't know how I feel about prepaying the taxes for them. If I die early, then I made a bad decision. If I live a long time, yeah, I understand I save some money here. I would almost rather give some money to charity. And I said, well, are you doing the qualified charitable distribution, the QCD? No. What we then went down this line of questioning and discussion with is, well, what if we just increase the amount of your giving and we take it from the IRA instead? How does that affect things? And what it did was it really lowered his tax rate down to the point where Social Security wasn't taxable. It took care of the charitable intent that he and his wife had the more they talked through all this. And yes, it probably lowered the inheritance to the kids some, but that wasn't important for them. What was important for them is within their value structure, yes, we want to help the kids some, but we don't necessarily want all of our money to go to our kids. Yes, we're okay with some taxes, but really we'd prefer to minimize them. Why not just minimize the taxes through giving in a strategic manner? And then, at the end of the day, the kids will get something, and perhaps it's not in the most tax advantageous way to them, but I remember him saying, I don't know how I feel about prepaying the taxes for my kids. And if I don't have to pay taxes, why would I? And there's a part, there's always a part of me that is like, that wants to play devil's advocate and go, yes, but if you look at the modeling and that, well, in an ideal world, perhaps it's set up that way. That being said, if by increasing the amount that's going to charity from his IRA takes away all of the Social Security taxation, leaves him to live off the taxable account, the Roth still gets to build over time, goes to the kids. It's a bit of a win-win. And so my point with this, it's a very short story, right? But my point with this and my encouragement to you today is it is very easy to have a myopic view of Roth conversions and whatever the latest financial software has told you is ideal. And every output has multiple inputs that create that output. And there are so many assumptions in retirement planning. And for this client, even though the output showed it could have been advantageous, the deeper we get into the questioning, the more it became apparent that really the best thing for them is just to increase their charitable giving, do it in the right way, the most tax efficient way. It saves them on taxes. Kids still get an inheritance at the end of the day, albeit maybe not as much. Charities get help today. Client pays less tax today. That's what the client valued more. And you need to go through the minutia and the dirty details to get there. But don't get into the minutia and become so focused on this percentage tax bracket versus that percentage tax bracket and miss the forest for the trees. Understand what your family values are. Then create goals that align with those values. And that's exactly what that client did in this situation. So until next time, hope that's helpful. See y'all.